July 2024, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Thousands of people arrive in Kingstown, the nation's capital, displaced by Hurricane Beryl. In total, 40,000 people, about 40% of the population, were affected by the storm. Just 3 years earlier, in April 2021, 20,000 people, one-fifth of the population, were displaced after La Soufrière volcano erupted for the first time in 40 years. Add to these numbers the thousands displaced by tropical cyclones Maria, Dorian, Matthew, Ida, and other storms in Dominica, Haiti, the British Virgin Islands, Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, and other Caribbean countries. Speaking at the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction, Christel Kazaba, head of programs at the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center, said that between 2015 and 2025, globally, there were 265 million displacements linked to disasters.
And as you can see from this map, those displacements really happened all around the world. Virtually in any country and territory, in any region, high and low income communities have been affected by disasters.
Kazaba said the data collection did not provide country-specific information for the Caribbean. However, the 2024 numbers gave an insight into the situation in the Americas.
In the Americas, for instance, in 2024, we recorded a total number of 13 million, just 2024, disaster displacement across the Americas.
And while the contributors to disaster displacements vary from country to country, in the Americas, the major cause is a hazard with which Caribbean residents are all too familiar.
The main drivers of that kind of displacement are storms and floods. And for instance, in the Americas, the main driver in 2024 for about 80% of those numbers were hurricanes during the hurricane season.
The information that you have, does it allow you to make a comment or a suggestion on what can be done to reduce the number of displacements?
Well, the information that we do collect would maybe not allow us to make that kind of comment, but however, research that we have conducted more in depth into the main drivers of displacement and impacts on people, and also what our partners who are present here at the Global Platform are saying, is that investments in disaster risk reduction can of course have an effect on related displacement. But not only that, also investments in socioeconomic development more broadly, because what we do see from our data is that those who are displaced most often, longer and more severely, are often the poorest communities. So actually investing in their development, ensuring that they have the resources to avoid displacement or come home faster, will help reduce displacement as well.
Speaking on behalf of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, Michelle Forbes said the Caribbean has faced complex cross-border displacements, such as a volcanic eruption in Montserrat in the 1990s, and more recently, cyclones Erica, Irma, and Maria. She, however, said that too often the response focuses primarily on the physical needs of those displaced by natural hazards.
Now, the mental health and psychosocial support is one that is often forgotten or not sustained. And I want to stress the word sustain, because we tend to have interventions immediately after the emergency, but a year later we are seeing the impacts 6 months later, around the Christmas time, when people are celebrating the local traditions. And I'm fearful coming up the anniversary of the Hurricane Beryl, and we are seeing it affecting the elderly persons in particular. We have quite a few deaths in terms of losing persons who have been elderly.
However, this is expected to change with the launch last October of the Caribbean Psychosocial Support Interagency Consortium.
This grouping brings together technical and humanitarian partners to work together in an effort to mainstream mental health and psychosocial support across all phases of disaster risk management, from prevention to recovery. The consortium has also been leading efforts to establish a standby mental health and psychosocial support search teams under the whole regional response mechanism coordinated by CDIM for deploying to participates in states on the request of the states.
Forecasters say that the 2025 hurricane season would be above average, with the possibility of 14 cyclones passing through the Caribbean before the season ends on November 30. Forbes' comments suggest that people who might be displaced by a natural hazard would be in a better position to have their psychosocial needs met. Kenton Chance, Eyewitness News, Geneva.